What's up, everybody? It's Thursday the 30th, a beautiful spring afternoon, and the boys of King and Mischief are excited to bring you the third episode of the podcast. Coen, what's up, man?
Man, I'm excited to be back. I've been getting a lot of good feedback from everybody, guys on the team, my family, friends that have been listening to the podcast. So I'm just excited to keep this thing rolling, dog. It's just like, it's a cool space to get here and just have an open forum to talk, just like us have a, cool conversation. And then it's also just like, it's really awesome to, give a little insight to college football and, our lives. So I'm excited, bro. I think this episode's gonna be a good one.
For sure, yeah. And I definitely think we're getting, more comfortable on, doing this. I think each week, right before we started, Coen was like, let me warm up. And I was like, what? What do you mean warm up? It's like, okay, cool. And he goes, I'm going to heat up a cup of water and just drink it. And I went, oh, you literally meant warm up, because he texted me, he just got back from the cold tub.
I get back, so Grant, you cold tub every day.
I'm an everyday cold tubber. Six
days a week. Everyday cold tubber. And you've been doing this. You did it all winter. So I don't cold tub very often. Like, I'll cold tub after days we had practice. We just had practice this morning. And like, I'll stay cold. My body's not as acclimated as yours is to it. So I'll stay cold for like hours after. Like, if I take a nap, I'll still wake up cold. So I put a glass of water into the microwave for a minute, and I've been holding it. So I'm just trying to warm up. If I sound a little jittery, because I'm still cold.
Well, so here's the thing that I do after the cold tub. I get in the shower for like 30 minutes, and I know you're not supposed to. You're supposed to let the cold water just, relax your muscles and do its magic for several hours. It's like not just like a quick thing. And I kind of screw that up sometimes, I feel like, but it's such a good shower. A shower after the cold tub is elite.
It's unbeaten.
Yeah. But so earlier this week, we had our staff faculty appreciation practice and brunch. And at the brunch, I was sitting with Coen knows them, Rocco DeVito and Gregory Prop, who were our sign language professors our first year, or our second year, but our first year doing sign language. Mm-hmm. And so, how girls will describe themselves as having a resting bitch face?
Yeah.
Well, what I think I have the equivalent of that, whatever the equivalent is for a guy, I think I have it, because UVA Football posted a picture of me sitting there.
Yeah.
Did you see it? So I was sitting there just watching them. I was watching them sign, obviously, because we're not like speaking. So I'm just watching them very intently signing. But I'm looking at my face. I'm like, why am I mean mugging these professors? Like, I look mean. Dude, I don't know what it is.
It looked like you hated them, but I'm glad you said the guy equivalent, because I'm glad you're not walking around calling yourself, claiming you have one of those.
But dude, I don't know. That's just my face.
Man.
So if you ever see me and I look like that, I'm not mad. I'm not in a bad mood. That's just me.
Nah, the video, it did look like you were. I was like, you're just intensely watching them. You haven't done sign language that fluent in so long. So like, you're just intensely watching them. Disclaimer: Rocco is completely deaf, so that's why like he's completely deaf. He's like 80 something years old. Awesome dude, man. He's one of my favorite professors I've ever had here. And he's a man, bro. He comes to all the UVA stuff, like you just said, the faculty appreciation stuff, and he's awesome. I'm mad I didn't get to talk to him, because I haven't practiced my sign language like I should have been, but he's awesome.
Thankfully, they had an interpreter there, so she was able to kind of just talk, because I was trying to figure stuff out. But yeah, Rocco's awesome. Rocco also coached football and basketball for Virginia School of the Blind and the Deaf for like 25 years. So he loves sports. I mean, practically when we were with him, our first semester was in the fall, so it was football season. So all he wanted to do was talk about the game. Like Fridays would be like preparing for the game, and then Monday it'd be just a debrief for the game. It was awesome. It was great.
Yeah, man. But let me give another shout out, bro. My Jackson Mateo, you know him, obviously. Freaking legend. He just is now Dr. Mateo. So he just finished his dissertation, man, today. My professor just told us, and I had to send him a text. He's a freaking beast, man. He's a legend. Jackson, he's the head coach at Woodbury now, Woodbury Forest High School. And when Grant and I got here, he was a graduate assistant. He played here for 4 years, and he's a beast, man. He's like my friend now. He's one of my best friends now. So had to send him a text, congratulate him on being Dr. Mateo. It's awesome.
He could easily be a head coach of a college one day, of a
his
Power 5 football program.
And his path is going to be insane. Like already being the head coach of Woodbury. Yeah.
So let's talk about weeks 2 and 3 spring ball.
Yeah, dude.
Tell me about the defense. What do you think? What do you think you guys are doing well, and what do you guys think you need to improve on?
I think that I just got interviewed after, I think it was practice 4, about like some of our leaders leaving, like AJ and Nick, and I'm kind of nervous that the questions being asked about people who aren't on the team anymore could lead to like a feeling of like wishing that people like that were here. So I really don't like being asked questions about people who aren't here. So I think that it just happens with time. Like people step up into different roles. Like you're not looking for the next AJ because you're not going to have another AJ. Just like when, like Jordan Mack, when he played here, like you're not looking for the next J Mack to come. You have a Nick Jackson. So it's like, I think we're just, a lot of people are stepping into new roles. I think that we need to build depth. I think that our ones are really, really, really good. I think we're really solid, especially when our D line gets back healthy. But I think right now we just need to build competitive depth. Like, we got a lot of young guys in a lot of different positions, and spring ball is a perfect time to build that depth. So I'm not worried at all, but I think that's our biggest focus right now.
Yeah,
y'all been looking good, dude. Y'all been looking good.
I was gonna say, kind of on the offensive side, competitive depth. That's something we're doing really well right now. We have a lot of younger guys or guys who haven't, necessarily played that much, who are pushing to try to get to those, those first team reps, and they're pushing the first teamers to do better. And competition breeds success. So the competition that we are having internally as an offense, I think, has done really good things for us this spring, and I think it's made us play significantly better. We had our first scrimmage Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday, and
y'all smoked
shocked me. And I play offense, and it shocked me. I mean, we came out firing.
You smoked it, man. Y'all smoked
it. I think we had, Coach Kitch said, I think 7 or 8 touchdowns on the day. We were rolling.
I mean, 7 touchdowns and 70 plays is kind of ridiculous.
It was 90 plays. It was 90 plays.
90 total?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
So a little more than a game, probably. I think in a game week last year we were getting 75 or 80. So another 10 to 15 plays. But I mean, shoot. And I think the biggest thing this year from last year that's helping us most is we're not dropping balls.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch a practice, there are very rarely any drops anymore. I feel like last year that was a huge issue for us, because even when we got to a good spot and made a play, we would just drop the ball.
You just drop it wide open.
Yeah. And that goes for everybody. Tight ends, running backs, receivers, everybody. Everybody was just not great with that. And I think, Coach Kitch has implemented, our first 5 minutes of Indy every day is the whole skill position of offense. We're catching balls. Mm-hmm. So that's something we didn't do last year. I think that's helped us a lot. But you were talking about new roles. You're in a new role. You've been playing corner.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
Yeah, I haven't talked about it on the show yet. Because I was honestly a little nervous. Like I was like, when can I like let that out? Like, you don't want to like self-report to people. So, but corner, it's cool, man. I'm excited because it gives me a chance to just like be versatile. Like if I ever like got an opportunity to play at the next level, like film at corner, film at safety, film at all 3 safety positions, like, I don't think it's doing anything but helping. And going against dudes like Malachi is gonna be a beast. Like going against people like that every day, it's doing nothing but helping. And I'm pretty comfortable at safety. I wouldn't say like I've like mastered it or anything, but I'm pretty comfortable after playing a few years. But corner, it's a lot more running.
Yeah.
I mean, we're running a lot less hitting. Depending on how you look at it, practice could be easier or harder. I don't know. I crave contact sometimes. Like it's funny, but I'm serious. Like I'm like I left practice after the scrimmage. I only got like 2 tackles, and I was like, I didn't feel like I did anything. But run.
Yeah, well, dude, I mean, as an offense, we hate that you're out at corner because corners don't usually like to tackle.
Yeah.
When we get out there in the open field, it's usually they might come at your legs or they might push you out of bounds. Nope, Coen's gonna hit you. And
yeah, bro, we're running a lot of inside zone now. Y'all killed us. Like Paris had like 4 touchdowns.
Oh, Paris,
yeah, he snapped. He went off, and I'm just out there like I want to be in the box right now.
Yeah, and I think that's as time progresses and as our team gets healthier, obviously you might get moved back to safety or stay wherever. I mean, that's a good thing with you is because you can play 3 different positions. You can play safety, you can play nickel, you can play corner,
right.
Which is better than not having anyone. So
yeah, dude. Yeah, I'm excited, man. We over halfway through now. We don't count we count down the days. It sucks, but it's the reality. We count down the days. That was practice 8, but in reality, we were halfway through on Tuesday because the spring game doesn't count, and we have 15 practices total. So what are we at now? Like 6?
So, yeah. 6, bro. We're on practice 9.
You know what I'm saying? Like 6 left. 6
left. 6 left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not really supposed to count down the days, but spring ball's hard. Spring ball and camp are not fun times. So, a little countdown's going on.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump into our top 5 draft of this week.
Oh, yeah.
This week it is going to be top 5 pregame hype songs. Now, this is just a personal thing. We're not going to be saying, like, what songs should be played in the stadium. This is us in our headphones, on the way to the game, in the locker room. And so that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to take a quick break here to flip a coin. We're going to decide who goes first, and we're going to get rolling.
Let's do it.
All right. We flipped our coin, and for the 3rd week in a row, Grant gets to pick first.
Dude, real quick before we do this, I have a quick funny story about this topic we're about to do. So before every time we're about to film, I kind of like briefly go over the topics with my girlfriend. And this week we were in the car just driving, and I was like, so for our top 5, we're doing our top 5 pregame songs. So I was kind of shuffling through my playlist, and I was like, what, this is definitely going to be on this list. And you'll see why it's funny, but my girlfriend was like, what? She was like, what do you mean this is on your top 5 pregame songs? You would not play this with Grant and Haley in the house before you're about to go out. I was like, hold up. This is you have a completely different idea about what a pregame song is. It was funny, like what the definition of a pregame song was.
Well, let me tell you. Oh, dude, we might be on the same wavelength here because one of mine is a pregame football song, and it's also a pregame drinking song. All right, so let's get into it. All right, my number 1 pick, Dreams and Nightmares.
Come on, man. Come on.
I have to. That's my number 1.
That's
arguably the most hype song of all time.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I'm coming a little different for my number 1, but my playlist, my pregame playlist changes so much. I really don't have a set playlist. It kind of just changes with the seasons. But my favorite pregame song to listen to is "Animal I Have Become" by 3 Days Grace. I mean, if you
I don't know it, I'll be honest.
If you haven't heard this song recently, I bet you've heard this song. I bet anybody listening has really heard this song. But if you haven't heard this song recently, I dare you to go listen to it and try to restrict yourself from not doing something crazy.
All right. I'll listen to it after this. Yeah. All right. My number 2 pick, March Madness by Future.
It's a good pick.
Coen, you know this.
Yep.
So when we used to have our jersey ceremony selection, we all got a walk-up song, and that was always my walk-up song. It's just a hype song. The beat is crazy.
Yeah.
It's nothing like special. Like he doesn't like say anything crazy in it. It's just a good song.
Dude, it's classic Future. It's hype.
Yeah.
My number 2, it kind of does the same thing that Dreams and Nightmares does with the build up, and then it goes in. But 100 Shots by Young Dolph. I mean, man, like I have a vivid memory of one of our best friends, Joe. Max out squatting one day in the winter or summer, and this song came on, and he had to have like 700 pounds on his back, and it's just this song fires me up. It's before every game.
Yeah, that's totally fair. That's a great song.
Yeah.
My number 3 is the song that I play right before as soon as I leave my hotel room to go to the team meeting before we leave. It's the first song I play every single time, and it locks me in. I am zoned into it at this. It's Mud by Whiskey Myers. And the first 4 seconds of the song, I am just zoned in. Even if I hear it now and it comes up on a playlist now and I'm in the car, it's like I'm like hypnotized. I am locked in when that comes on.
Dude, is it you're saying when we were leaving to get on the buses?
No, when I leave my hotel room to get on to go down to the team meeting before the buses. This is the very first song I listen to as soon as I put my headphones in.
Yeah. That's a good pick. I've never heard the song. You gotta give me a listen to that. My number 3, and this is also one of my favorite songs of all time in general. It's All There by Young Jeezy and Bankroll Fresh. This song, man, like it's one of the most hype songs I've ever heard. We've played it, like, granted, like the songs that we're saying we've played like very minimal, besides Dreams and Nightmares in the locker room, but they played this song a few times when we did have music in the locker room, and it gets me fired up too.
Yeah, that's a good song. My number 4 is "Oh Let's Do It" by Waka Flocka. That it's kind of the same as March Madness to me. It's just there's something about it that is just hype, and it gets me fired up.
Bro, that's actually on one of my pregame playlists.
It's a great song.
My number 4, and you love this artist. He's already been on here. "I'm a Boss" by Meek Mill and Rick Ross. I mean, bro, song is insane. And honestly, I was gonna say like that song or like the entire Rick Ross era of like 2010 to 2012. I mean, he was on fire. So like, "I'm a Boss" is definitely on there, but any of his songs that he made at that time or albums like could be on that spot as well.
That's a good number 4 pick. All right, to round out my top 5, this is the one where it could also be a pregame drinking song. It's "Thunderstruck" by AC/DC. And I don't necessarily love the song, but it's what we ran out to from the tunnel for 4 years. We might have ran out to it last year. I can't really remember, but I know from like 2018 to 2022, that's what we were running out to, or 2021. So there's a special place for me for pregame hype.
Yeah, I like the pick. And this also is a special pick for me. My number 5, "I Don't Like" by Chief Keef. It's a legendary song, legendary music video. I feel like I'm in 7th or 8th grade whenever it came out. I feel like I'm in that time period again. It gets me ready to do anything. Bro, I have to ask though, before we finish up on this topic, I have to ask, have you ever like forgotten or your headphones have died before a game?
No, I have not ran into that issue.
I ran into that issue. I can't remember if it was BYU or Louisville 2021. And it set in when we were on the way to the game on the bus. And it's like, I don't like to feel like I rely on something, but you kind of need music.
It needs a little something.
You do need music to.
It also takes your mind off everything because you're freaking stressed out and nervous. Like it takes you to a different place and just sitting in silence.
Yeah. It
does. Another thing before we get off this music topic, I have a bone to pick with Whiskey Myers. Because so back in 2021, they were coming to Richmond on their tour, and Haley, my girlfriend, surprised me with 2 tickets. So, we're going to go out to Richmond. This was in the summer. So I don't know when, but it was in the summer. We are out on the concert was a Saturday night. So we're out on a Friday night, and it's like 11:30 or 12 o'clock. And again, Joe Bissinger, who's come up twice on this podcast now, comes up to us and he's like, "Guys, the concert's canceled." And we're like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "They're sick. One of them is sick, so they're not performing tomorrow." And we're like, "What? Are you kidding me?" So anyways, I put out this thing. put out this thing saying you can get your the ticket can be transferred to the new date, but the new date was August 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're in camp, so we couldn't go.
Right.
And we reached out to them, and we were like, "Hey, like, we're a couple football players. This is the only time of the year that we can really make it to a concert. Can we get our a refund or something?" And they said you have to take it up with the venue. So we took it up with the venue, and they're like, "Sorry, ticket sales are final. You can try to sell them online." So we sold them, but we sold them for freaking half the price of what we bought them for. And then, so they've done me dirty twice, because then recently for the podcast, I reached out to them on Instagram asking if we could use one of their songs as our intro song. And yep, I got red. Nope, they didn't want to reply.
They left you in red?
Yeah, they opened it.
Dude, I thought, well, you also said, you were like, yeah, we're going to get this. Whiskey Myers, they're always so good at replying. And I was like, oh, we're set. But I didn't know you got left them red. I thought you just sent it and they never looked at it.
No, dude. I always, on TikTok, they reply to all the comments. They tweeted back at Joe last year talking about the concert, or 2 years ago. And then I need a blue check. That's what I need. If I had a blue check on my name, that would be very helpful. They would have looked at it. Yeah. But whatever, man.
Yeah, man. So I'm excited. I have the honor of taking lead in our hot take or mischievous take section this week. Let's get into it, man. This is a huge one for me, bro. It kind of it really bothers me on a daily every time I go through this. But the whole idea today is that small talk is one of the worst and completely useless things that we as a human species do. Small talk is awful. Small talk, I saw something on Rick and Morty, and they use the term that small talk is like being held mentally hostage, and I can't get that out of my mind now. But so, for example, this happens a lot. I imagine if anybody is at a corporate job, this happens to you just as much as it happens to us. But with coaches, I don't know if it happens to you, Grant, but coaches do the worst small talk I've ever heard in my entire life. In my mind, if I don't have anything to say to somebody, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to walk past. I'm going to head nod. I'm going to, what's up? But just a few weeks ago, I was in the JPJ computer lab. No, I was in the McHugh lab. I'm sorry. And I was clearly writing something down, clearly doing some sort of work. A coach comes by and they're like, "What are you up to? Work?" I'm like, yeah, I am up to work. I'm interested to see what you think about small talk. It's terrible.
So what do you really mean by small talk? Because when I think of small talk, are you talking about someone that if you are on a flight with, you don't want to talk to the person sitting next to you at all? Or are you talking with people where they feel like they have to say something?
I'm more so talking about with people that I know, and it's it's truthfully not a real conversation. Yeah. It's a intrinsic need to have some sort of conversation. Is it a fear of silence? Is it I have to make conversation with this person or something? I think that people have an issue with not just being comfortable, just sitting, just being,
Yeah.
There's no need to say, am I doing work? Or, I'm trying to think of another example that I've had.
Do you know what I feel like kind of falls under that category? And it happens a lot in the locker room, is where people talk out loud for everyone else to hear, even though they're not talking to anyone.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of similar. You just want somebody to hear you because you can't just sit there and be quiet.
Yeah. I'm telling you, they said it best from Rick and Morty. It's being held mentally hostage. It's you have to respond to this. And if you don't, you're a bad person if you don't respond. So
it's kind of along the same lines of what Coen's been talking about, is being quiet and being alone, or just being yourself. I feel like that's really important in life. To just be able to just go about your business by yourself. You don't need anyone else to you don't have to tell them what you're doing, or you don't need them to ask you what you're doing. You can just do what you need to do. I think that's really important. I think it's something that a lot of people don't do. I feel like a lot of people have to have someone else telling them, good job, or what are you doing? And they want to explain to people what they're doing. And I feel like it kind of falls all under the same category, what you're talking about.
It does, man. I'm I just think that small talk kind of like gets rid of the like authenticity in conversations, like the real conversations that should be had. I think that small talk and just having a need to say something. And I mean, the person that I know that that does not put up with small talk at all is my freaking dad. Like dad, like I've seen my dad like legit ignore somebody if they're just like talking to talk, and it's like it's clear. I wouldn't go as far to do something like that, but I think that we need more genuine conversation. If you don't have anything to say, there's no need to really say it.
I like that theory. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
So now let's jump into life of a college football player. This week I wanted to talk about traveling because I think it's a great time. I think the travel, not only is it can be fun, after a loss isn't very fun, but you travel for like 2 whole days before that, pretty much, like all of Friday and then most of Saturday you're traveling.
Yeah.
But a couple things about it. One, we do get treated like royalty. We get treated great when we travel. Hotels are always nice. Food's always great. Police escorts everywhere. It's a fun time for me personally. I love Fridays when we go to a new place. The traditions, especially with us, because we go, we have dinner. We get to the hotel and then we have dinner, and then we always go to a movie.
Yeah.
And me and Coen have been sitting next to each other at the movie in the same. Do you know the seats?
Third from the top. Third from the top.
Third from the top, and it's usually row H seats 15 and 17. That's usually what it is, and we sit in those seats every freaking time for the movies.
Dude, it's hilarious you just said we get treated like royalty, because my whole like idea of what traveling is completely like screwed.
Yeah.
I feel like once I get to an airport, I just am able to get on the plane, fly, and get off and travel. But I know that is not the reality. And I haven't flown like commercial or like with normal people like outside the team since I was like 9. And I'm actually getting ready to do that soon. So I'm like, we get treated, like he said, like it's true. We get treated like royalty. Like there's food at the airport for us already.
Yeah.
There's food once we get off sometimes. And like, Grant, you're very like, I don't want to say like ritualistic person, but
no, you can say that. Very.
Okay, you're a very ritualistic person. Hence that you said that you listen to the same song once you get out of your bedroom. But I also take pride in those 2 seats, and it's every single time for 5 years now.
Well, also, so COVID year, me and Coen don't usually room together when we travel because they room people with their position. But COVID year, because we were living together, they had us room together because, travel restrictions and all that. But so I go, part of my routine is after our pregame meal, I come up and I take a shower. Right. I like the hotel room freezing cold. As soon as I get in there, I crank that down as low as it can go. So the room's probably honestly at like 66 degrees.
Yeah, it's freezing.
And I go into the shower. I take a shower. Somehow this is the greatest. This is in Miami. It has the greatest heat ever. I come out of the shower and Coen is sitting on the bed in his sweats, and the room is 75 degrees. Dude, that actually made me mad. I was so shocked to come out of the shower and it was to be that hot.
And let me just explain the reasoning why behind I did that, like why I did that. So we only play Miami at night. That was a night game in Miami. So that means we have so much time throughout the day. And the nature of just being in a hotel room all day is that you're gonna be in your bed. So I was in bed pretty much all day. It was after a meal. I just ate. I'm sitting in my bed. And if you're sitting in your bed after a meal in a cold room, you want to go to sleep. It's just a fact of the matter. So it's not a ritual for me. I guess it's more of a routine that I won't have the room cold like a few hours before we leave. So I try to get as uncomfortable as possible. I'm pretty sure I put the heat up to like 74. We're in the middle of Miami in October, so it's not cold by any means. And we just clashed there, like 66 to 75 degrees. And I have to have the room hot so I won't get under the covers and I won't get comfortable. And I'm just in an uncomfortable state. I'm ready to go.
Do you remember the flight after that game?
2020, I don't. Oh, we didn't land. Was that when we didn't land?
We didn't land because of the bad weather. We just started doing circles.
Yeah,
so the Miami flight is usually around 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Well, we get back to Charlottesville and we had a late game, so it's like 3 o'clock already, which is expected. And then the plane, the captain comes on and says like, "Hey, like there's bad weather down, in Charlottesville. We're gonna just like circle around until we can land." Well, come 5 a.m., we're still flying. I was like, dude, we got to land.
You know what's hilarious is that there's some people who can sleep the entire flight, not wake up, not feel anything. That's not us. Let me just make that really clear. Grant sparked my fear of flying. I don't know if I've already talked about this, but you sparked my fear of flying. I didn't used to mind flying at all. I was completely fine with it, but you're like, you'll look back at me sometimes. You typically sit in front of me, and if anything happens, a little turbulence, just a little bump, a little bump in the air, he'll look back at me, and I'm already looking up for some reason. I don't know why. I'm expecting him to look at me, and we hate flying. So that whole entire time we're circling around, I'm like, what is wrong? Are we going to run out of fuel? Are we going to get struck down? Is something bad going to happen? It was all terrible thoughts. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, and neither of us can sleep, which, you know what, when that really sucked was on the way back from BYU.
Oh, my gosh. Did you sleep at all?
I slept not 1 second. I didn't sleep for 1 second on that flight. It's a 5-hour flight, and we kicked off at 8 o'clock in Mountain Time.
Oh, yeah.
So we kicked out here at 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
What time did we land? 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, it was almost 8.
Yeah, and I didn't sleep. I hadn't slept yet.
Yeah, I was getting back to my apartment at like 8:20, 8:30.
Yeah, and I slept till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
I didn't love that, but going out to BYU was really cool.
It's awesome, man. It was awesome, but travel for us is terrible because one, we hate flying, but it's not terrible, but it's so much that goes with it. It takes up your entire time. If you have schoolwork, it's not possible to do schoolwork. There's some guys who can work on school stuff. I can't do it. It's not a time for me to do it.
Well, do you know what arguably was the most interesting travel that we've had? I don't know if you were there for it because I think you might have still been hurt. Yeah, Duke last year.
I was there.
So Duke, there was a hurricane coming in, and we left super early on Friday. We were supposed to leave at like noon or 1 o'clock, and we left super early. We left at like 8 a.m. And we got down there. We went to the mall. Went to some mall down in Raleigh, Durham, wherever they are. And we were at the mall for 2.5 hours until we can get to the hotel. And then we get to the hotel. We do our normal routine. Like we have a meal, time to chill, and then come back down for dinner. And then after dinner, we're going to the movies. We are on the buses to go to the movies. And they say, oh, movie theater lost power. Like, great. So they send us back in, like, all right, we're setting up a room in like one of these ballrooms for you guys to come down and we'll watch a movie together down here. And we go down. We are 20 minutes into the movie, and then hotel power goes out, and we're like, oh, man. What are we going to do tonight with no power? Because first of all, the heat didn't work.
Yeah.
Or the air. Sorry, excuse me, the air. The air wasn't working, so it started to get hot in rooms, and we had nothing to do, so we just were hanging out with each other, obviously. I didn't let anyone near my room. I wasn't having anybody's excess heat in my room.
I mean, what time was it when all that, like when it happened at the hotel? How late was it?
It was probably like 8 o'clock, 8:30.
Yeah.
And then, so last night, or that night, we went to bed with no power, and thankfully we woke up with power. Because, like you said, if your phone was dead on the day before a game, and we played at night, just to sit there and do nothing all day, that would have been rough. But thankfully the power's back on, and the rest of it was okay besides the actual game. But
dude, there were people in the DB group chat that were like texting like, what room are y'all in? What room are y'all in? I'm like, what is going on here? Because I, like you said, I wasn't at that game. I was hurt, and I was like, what is going on? They're like, what room are y'all in? I'm about to come up there. Like, it's funny. Like, I had no idea all this was going on. Like, people were watching movies. You said you were watching movies on your phone and stuff. Like,
no, we set up a laptop in I think it was Jared Raymond's room, and we set up a laptop, and we all gathered around someone's laptop that we had a hotspot to, and we were watching movies there. But
we had a game next morning.
Yeah, it was a good time though. I mean, every time we travel, I enjoy it.
Yeah,
like I said, we get treated well. We have good food. We have good travel. Like no waits. We don't wait in lines in traffic. All that. So it's nice. I'm thankful for how they do it, and I can't imagine traveling any other way anymore.
We're gonna have to soon, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this was a great episode. Thanks for everybody who's listening, who tuned in this week. Episode 3 was awesome. I can't wait to, coming up on the last 2 weeks of springball. So we're gonna have a few more updates on springball, and then, get into real life, man. After that.
Yep. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a good weekend or have a good day, and we will hope to see y'all soon.
See ya.